The Congo's remote rainforests are thought to be home to real-life monsters still unknown to man. Half of its land is covered with dense tropical forests with rich flora where creatures could go unnoticed. Join us as we show you the 20 most horrifying discoveries in the Congo that would scare anyone.
Sorry to everyone who's into aliens like me, but I bet they have better technology than pop rivets.
Number 20. Giant spider. Nature's dizzying spectrum of life never ceases to amaze as species large and small reveal themselves through intrepid exploration or chance encounters. Yet even the boldest scientific minds struggle to accept scattered sightings along the Congo River, telling of spiders able to straddle an automobile roofline. These improbable accounts of the Jeba describe hairy Goliaths as broad as a serving platter and boasting 5-foot leg spans for ensnaring everything from birds to antelope. Sober analysis might easily dismiss such yarns as fanciful exaggerations or sheer fantasy, except the oral Jeba legends circulating locally since eras predating European contact speak too uniformly of these intimidating 8-legged anomalies to shrug off without deeper investigation. They recount camouflaged lairs concealed near the forest floor by piles of leaves, tunnel openings hinting at extensive underground architecture, complex webs spanning astonishing distances, and most alarmingly, a deadly necrotic venom that rapidly dispatched the few humans unfortunate enough to receive a probing bite. British missionary Arthur John Symes learned this the hard way in the 1890s, after stirring up a Jeba haven near Lake Nyassa. Giant arachnids well over 3 feet tall descended, and though Symes shot 2 while fleeing, their retaliation bite soon cost him his life from days of delirium ending in oblivion. It was hardly the only chilling encounter with hairy fangs by terrified locals over the decades, with certain forest roots or cave outcroppings deemed accursed haunts of these oversized 8-legged horrors. Number 19. The Lost Dinosaur. Half of the Congo lies under blankets of dense, dark jungle where secrets still linger and discoveries await, offering the perfect refuge for elusive beasts to hide from prying modern eyes. And so, might dinosaurs still walk the earth, secluded in the most remote pockets of the Congo? Legends' whispers tell of the Mokele Mbembe, meaning one who stops the flow of rivers, a herbivorous, sauropod-like creature the size of an elephant, with a long neck, muscular tail, and affinity for the still waters of the region's secluded lakes. Sightings of this apparent living dinosaur have echoed through the ages, with descriptions bearing striking similarities to Diplodocus and other long-extinct dinosaurs. Carl Hagenbeck first shared such an account in 1909, after encountering a German explorer who claimed to have seen the Mokele Mbembe lounging in the depths of an isolated lake, precisely matching a sauropod. Since then, sporadic sightings have continued, with locals able to identify the Mokele Mbembe upon being shown images of dinosaurs. Some theorize that during the cataclysmic asteroid strike ending the Cretaceous period, some dinosaurs occupying remote wetland regions may have endured when their open terrain counterparts perished. Number 18. Emila Anuka. In the heart of the Congo, whispers circulate about Emila Anuka, a monstrous entity embraced by the locals. This freshwater giant, rhinoceros-like in form, boasts a massive body and a lethal horn capable of felling elephants and other colossal creatures with a single powerful blow. Unlike its rhino kin, Emila Anuka features an elongated neck surrounded by crocodile-like folds. First emerging in 1913 through explorer Hans Schoenberg's encounters with the Claw tribe in Liberia, the legend of Emila Anuka persisted. In the early 21st century, a Congolese resident claimed to have killed one of these mysterious beings, and according to locals, this monster, despite its herbivorous nature, displays a deadly tendency to eliminate anything in its path. Later, locals found a dead elephant near the Claw tribe settlement, its side pierced by a sharp object believed to be the work of Emila Anuka. Described as belonging to herbivorous dinosaurs from the ceratopsid family, cryptozoologists speculate that these creatures may have survived and remain hidden in the dense Congo forests. Number 17. Giant creepy crawlers. While the Congo jungle holds celebrity status for its coterie of megafauna like forest elephants and lowland gorillas, a truly shocking kingdom lies underfoot and among the vegetation. Goliath insects, whose proportions defy belief. In this land renowned for all things giant and primeval, beetles, millipedes, and stick creatures measuring over 12 inches thrive as mini titans, representing evolution on hyperdrive. The massive Goliath beetle claims the heavyweight crown at nearly 4 ounces, equal to a small rodent, bulging with the muscle to lift 850 times its body weight. Larvae resemble ridged tubes thicker than a finger that grow more than 6 inches long, and if their proportions weren't formidable enough, they can spray a vat of concentrated hydroquinone and hydrogen peroxide from their rear as a chemical defense. Then there are the giant millipedes, whose ancestry traces back over 300 million years to when early invertebrates first transitioned ashore. The Congo's modern species shock less from their lengths surpassing 25 inches than from the sheer number of legs ripple crawling beneath them. Estimates place the count between approximately 256 to 750. While entirely harmless to humans, their alien undulations never cease to make skin crawl. And what of the praying mantises? Those raptorial ambush predators renowned for ruthless strikes on prey. In Congo's southern reaches, the giant stick insect dwarfs its relatives at over 12 inches long when extended. So seamless is its leaf-like camouflage among rainforest foliage that it eluded widespread discovery until recent decades. Number 16, Okapi. Locals in central Congo whispered tales of a beast called the African unicorn, which roamed the remote rainforests, yet mysteriously evaded contact with the outside world. But to Europeans, this elusive animal was the stuff of fables until an intrepid British explorer named Harry Johnston returned from tropical Ituri forest with stunning revelations. The first known hide-and-skull remnants of an extraordinary rainforest giraffe named Okapi. From that moment, the veil was lifted on this last major African mammal to be documented by science. About the height of a horse at its shoulder, the Okapi exhibits the telltale long, dark tongue and ossicone horns of giraffids. Yet its legs have bold white and black zebra-like stripes wrapping horizontally around each limb. Genetic analysis soon confirmed Okapis as giraffes' sole living relative besides giraffes themselves, an amazing evolutionary relic over 11 million years removed from their common ancestor, the ancient Paleotragus. Number 15. Unexplained Sounds. Beyond its better-known menagerie of creatures both legendary and real, the Congo rainforests harbor an even more enigmatic phenomenon. A symphony of bizarre, unidentified sounds shrouding the landscape in mystery. Throughout the remote woodlands, travelers and natives have long reported hearing and feeling a cacophony of strange vibrations permeating the air, from deep, reverberating rumbles to short, cacophonous bursts. Attempts to trace these acoustical occurrences to a geological or animal source have repeatedly come up empty-handed, leaving their origins a perplexing subject of speculation. This is the new, terrifying discovery in Congo that scares scientists. Among the myriad theories proposed are ideas anchored in rational analysis, ranging from low-frequency rhinoceros vocalizations to little-understood seismic events originating miles underground. But other explanations drift into more fanciful waters, whispering of concealed creatures unknown to science coordinating their communications in frequencies audible to only a few sharp-eared observers. Some go further, attributing the soundscape to pastoral rituals from vanished jungle civilizations or even signaling attempts by interdimensional beings to make contact. Number 14. Vibranium Stone. When a remote village congregated one morning around an intriguing find during a mineral assay in Congo's southeast tangible hills, fascination rapidly escalated into disbelief as implications sunk in. Strewn over clay beds near Manono dwelt a deposit of glossy black rocks with an inexplicable property. When struck together, they discharged visible sparks and jolts, as though conductors channeling an innate reserve of astonishing power. As viral village videos demonstrated these rocks lighting light bulbs and even welding metal when rubbed, the wider world weighed in through social media with radical theories. Some compared the rocks to vibranium, the fictional metal ore used by Marvel's Black Panther hero due to its unique energy-manipulating physics. They suggest perhaps similar undiscovered elements await hidden on Earth, bearing physics-defying qualities echoing science fiction. Mainstream skepticism also flared over the stone's abilities being staged illusions. Their jet-black sheen and unusual capabilities pressed against conventional geology too sharply, it was argued. The speed at which tribal hoaxes now disseminate globally also drew warnings of deliberate misinformation. If magic rocks truly lit homes, why wouldn't multinationals mass extract them for profit already? Of course, whether through guileless excitement or opportunism, the villagers' very poverty may incentivize producing viral media that appears to showcase exotic physics, much like mysterious UFO medals after Roswell that evaporated under scrutiny. But occasionally, the orthodox lens must widen to acknowledge realities born less from greed than the collective desire for magic and mystery enduring from our ancestors' sacred worldview. Number 13. Kongamato. Legends persist through generations along the Congo-Zambia borderlands of a winged reddish horror named Kongamato that haunts the rivers hewn between provinces. Accounts of this elusive creature strike an uncanny resemblance to flying reptiles believed extinct for 66 million years, the pterosaurs. And yet, repeated eyewitness claims of aggressive attacks by these sharp-toothed flying beasts weave an unraveling strand of truth from myth's tangled skein. According to native lore, Kongamatos lair among the dense swamplands flanking the region's winding rivers before terrorizing fishermen who dare encroach too far into their domains. Victims describe razor teeth lining vice-like jaws that clamp onto extremities, their leathery wings beating frenziedly just out of knife's reach. Those who escaped their encounter alive bear deep scars mirroring the claws of an eagle or alligator, but on an entirely different scale and angle of attack. The most vivid early account dates to 1932, when American zoologist Ivan T. Sanderson crossed paths with the creature while wading through a Congo river. The beast swooped without provocation, forcing Sanderson underwater by instinct before firing his pistol wildly towards a tooth-lined snout until it retreated. Number 12. Giant snake. In 1959, Belgian pilot Colonel Remy van Lierde had a chilling aerial encounter that would shake his understanding of reality while flying over Katanga province. Returning by helicopter from a cartographic expedition, he noticed an immense shadow rippling just within sight. The unmistakable silhouette of a gargantuan snake sprawled 50 feet across the landscape. Van Lierde, a decorated squadron leader, had logged thousands of reconnaissance hours recording terrain from the air. By his seasoned estimation, this serpentine monster measured close to 50 meters in length, with a 3-foot wide triangular head that was itself over 7 feet long. Realizing he was the sole witness to something unexplained by science or memory, Van Lierde hastily directed his pilot to circle back for closer inspection of this slick behemoth bathed in sunlight. As the helicopter wheeled overhead, the Titan lifted its head vertically like a cobra to nearly 10 feet, as if sizing up a potential rival. Resisting an involuntary shiver, the colonel gave orders to beat a hasty retreat, but not before snapping several photographs using an onboard camera. Van Lierde's images remain the only existing visual proof of his disturbing discovery. Scientists have scrutinized these images to glean biological clues, with many speculating it was either an African rock python of unprecedented scale, an exotic new species with no fossil precedent, or even the modern descendant of Titanoboa ceruginoensis, an extinct South American serpent exceeding 42 feet that occupied steamy lowland rainforests after the dinosaurs perished. Number 11. Monolith. When a 10-foot alien monolith materialized mysteriously in 2020 within Utah's barren Crimson landscape, it ignited global fascination overnight. As mysteriously as it had surfaced, the structure disappeared by year's end, leaving unresolved riddles. Stranger still, 2021 witnessed copycat monoliths unfurling unexpectedly across Europe, from Romania's misty hillsides to the Netherlands' windswept dunes. But the phenomenon saved its wildest reveal for Congo's sweaty capital, where fear and torchfires exorcised it. Kinshasa awoke on an ordinary February dawn to learn that a 12-foot-tall pillar of polished metal foil had teleported overnight into its cluttered streets. But while European onlookers reacted with amused curiosity when faced with such objects echoing Kubrick's interstellar totems from 2001: A Space Odyssey, Central Africa's deeply superstitious populace interpreted the anomaly as an occult property with a hidden purpose. their indigenous spiritual perception, attuned like overlapping frequencies transmitting just beyond the curtain of known reality, recoiled from its cold, alien countenance. Responding rapidly to public outcry, Kinshasa's authorities surrounded the monolith in a protective perimeter until experts could dismantle it safely under strategy of what to reveal or conceal. But before authorities could secure the imperative structure, a defiant crowd rallied by witchcraft rumors overran barricades, toppling the monolith with chains and then torching its metallic carcass, hoping perhaps its secrets would disintegrate with the horrid melting steel. Whatever the facts, the profound irony was not lost that an iconic pinnacle of technological progress would meet its end at the desperate hands of the world's least technologically connected people, guided by the belief in older gods, not circuitry. Number 10. Mongbeu Tribe. Among the mosaic of diverse tribal cultures gracing the Congo, the ancient kingdom of the Mongbeu stands out for its unique practices and artistic sophistication. For centuries, these people have inhabited the dense northern rainforests, ruled by a line of kings and aristocrats recognizable for their elongated heads. This signature custom of cranial elongation, called Upemba, dates deeply into Mongbeu history. It was achieved by tightly wrapping an infant's pliable head in cloth to gradually mold it into an elongated shape, denoting high social rank. Some link the practice to ancient Egyptian and Mayan cultures who reshaped royal skulls to signify status. While controversial today, the gradual process caused no neurological impairment beyond cosmetic reshaping. But the Mongbeu were remarkable beyond Upemba traditions. Aristocrats adorned themselves in elaborate animal skin robes and intricate coiffed hairdos, sometimes mimicking animal horns. Mongbeu artwork also dazzled Western explorers with its attention to detail when they first contacted these isolated people, from ornate pottery and basketry to the intricate patterns gracing their carved wooden knives and totems. Yet, when Belgium colonized the Congo in the late 1800s, tragedy struck as invaders pillaged countless Mongbeu cultural relics for European museums and collectors. Artworks, totems, and prized objects were ripped away by the thousands, inflicting tremendous loss. Number 9. Dingon. The verdant terrain flanking Lake Victoria's misty shoreline conceals one of Africa's strangest rumored inhabitants, a creature with the foreboding name of Dingon and an even more foreboding anatomy to match. As early 20th century European explorers like John Alfred Jordan first mapped the Congo's blank frontiers, chilling native accounts of an unknown forest-dwelling monster defying zoological precedent emerged. What such pioneers initially dismissed as fanciful myths or confused glimpses of known species soon led to disturbing first-hand encounters with an entity straddling the line between misidentification and the purely sinister. Jordan himself had the damning Dingon legend first related to him in 1907 as a real mix-up, half bird, half mammal. But upon reaching the Magori River's lonely banks, his skepticism eroded on viewing the living specimen oozing from shoreline vegetation. He later described an imposing 16-foot creature encased by armor resembling an armadillo's plating, adorned with leopard spots, and featuring a jarring walrus-like head with long saber fangs protruding over a reptilian grin. When the group fled, Jordan turned to loose his elephant rifle against the Dingon's vertebral column in vain, as it disappeared below without even a death throw. Attempts to retrieve its carcass turned up no clues, save a lingering sense of the primal unknown. Number 8. Billy Apes. One creature above all dominates global fame as our closest genetic relative, the common chimpanzee of Africa's lowland forests. Yet accounts dating to 2003 from the Congo's steaming Billy Forest challenge the very notion of what defines a common chimp, showcasing muscular giants reaching gorilla stature up to 6 feet, oddly warlike, and displaying disturbing signs of possible human ancestry. Initial reports leaked from British zoologist Shelley Williams after a tense encounter with 4 intimidating male chimpanzees radiating extreme aggression. Rather than observing intruders briefly before knuckle-walking away as chimps typically do, these stayed ominously upright on 2 legs while staring in eerie silence. Despite towering massively over their regular brethren, they shared morphology like chimp brow ridges and facial structure, albeit on a frightening scale akin to pumped steroidal weightlifters. The ramifications were shocking. Besides growing exponentially beyond normal chimpanzee body charts, their behavior also dilutes deeper into the savage by habitually targeting and eating lesser primates like colobus monkeys with relish. They rip victims apart without using tools, sharp insight into their bloodthirsty primal nature. More distressingly, while they share over 98% of human DNA, these super chimps also awkwardly echo certain human-like morphological quirks. Number 7. Mahamba. A certain serpentine terror beyond even titanic pythons haunts the Congo's collective memory. A primeval aquatic horror known as Mahamba, preserved through anxious whispers rather than zoological texts. Fantastic as it sounds, the beast is chronicled stretching over 15 meters with jaws sufficient to swallow modern saltwater crocodiles whole. And by some tormented accounts, it continues patrolling Congolese swamps, eager for mammalian prey. Tales of the Mahamba depict a classic apex ambush killer. It wedges its armored bulk stealthily into lakeside marshes and estuaries, monitoring surroundings ceaselessly until the misfortunes of thirst or chance deliver an antelope, Cape buffalo, or elephant too close to the primal shoreline. Then, with terrifying swiftness, its coils explode forth, seizing panicked quarry within meters and securing a death grip through relentless suffocating constriction. Death soon follows from crushed organs and snapped spine as the crocodile-like maw shears off limbs leisurely. Legend traces this aquatic carnivore of nightmares to a lineage of reptiles preceding modern configurations, earning it the title swamp monster. Leading theories suggest an evolutionary hangover of Deinosuchus progeny from the late Cretaceous, a 40-foot ancestor of alligators that filled apex predator niches worldwide until the dinosaurs perished. Skeptics counter that no remotely plausible habitat could conceal such scales and teeth today. Yet history underscores that nature's capacity for spectacle endures long past assumed extinction dates. Perhaps most unnerving are the Mahamba's uncanny behavioral patterns that echo sentience over mere instinct. Cunning baiting of hooks by removing all except the bait, coordinated raiding of fishermen along river routes, and most disturbing, actively stalking certain individual boats while avoiding other random craft. These patterns resonate with crocodilian learning capacity, recently confirmed by behavioral biologists through experiments. Number 6. Cave of Agonizing Death. In his tireless 19th-century jungle pilgrimages, Italian documentarian Attilio Gatti immersed himself deeply in the indigenous ways of the Congo, befriending local tribes and faithfully recording carved artifacts, masked dances, and hunting practices with his trusted camera equipment in tow. Yet when tribal elders began reluctantly whispering legends about forbidden caves haunted by evil forces that doomed all who entered, his explorer instincts ignited despite dire warnings to steer clear of such accursed terrain. Gatti assembled a robust team of guides and assistants to locate the heavily tabooed cavern, marked by skulls at its precipice, known ominously to natives as the Cave of Agonizing Death for its terminal effects on trespassers. Undaunted by curses, his crew descended by rope into the abyss with equipment to document its secrets. Almost immediately, the fetid subterranean air assaulted their lungs as the last ray of sunshine retreated, sealing their fate. Scrambling over a grim collection of human and animal bones, Gatti was paralyzed by a sudden sinister movement ahead, dozens of cobras awakening and slithering aggressively to block any hope of escape. Firing his pistol wildly against the venomous snakes, the explorer barely scattered their advance before exhaustion from stifling air forced an agonizing ascent up the vertical entrance shaft hand over hand. Blood dripped from his torn fingers and dislocated shoulders while fleeing the auditory nightmare of fangs below nipping at his heels. No other members emerged behind him. The warning tales he had shrugged off were true. Sometimes sacred ground must remain untread, despite yearnings to unveil its mysteries. Attilio Gatti resolved firmly never to doubt ancestral spirits again, lest he join the lifeless remnants in silent testament to their immortal powers of protection against intruders. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. For over a century, new insects, animals, and discoveries have been made in the lush rainforests of Congo. This is the new terrifying discovery in Congo that scares scientists. Villagers have reported sightings of a giant sandworm slithering around their homes, far larger than any documented earthworm and resembling fictional monsters more than natural fauna. Entomologists are stunned, having never cataloged a species of this enormity before. Could such massive worms be lurking deep underground across the Congo's remote forests? What else might we not know about this biodiverse region? Share your thoughts in the comments. Number 5. Cobalt Mining. The world's relentless appetite for the Congo's rich mineral resources, including tin, gold, and tungsten, to drive technological progress, hides a dark humanitarian cost. Workers extracting these materials often endure oppressive conditions, becoming unwitting suppliers to global technology companies. Nowhere is this exploitation more glaring than in cobalt mining, crucial for electronics and electric vehicles. An astounding 70% of the world's cobalt originates from brutally harsh Congolese operations, notorious for sacrificing lives to maximize output scale and profit. The sordid underbelly of the industry swells from small private mines, mostly escaping oversight and regulations while engaging children desperately poor to risk their youth operating surroundings studded with physical, respiratory, and chemical threats without basic protective equipment. But even major mining firms evade responsibility via complex supply chains that bury ethics under revenue. All the while, the Democratic Republic of Congo lingers despite immense mineral and agricultural wealth as one of the least developed nations, with most inhabitants lacking essential infrastructure like electricity, clean water, healthcare, and affordable nutrition. Number 4. Deadliest diseases. The Democratic Republic of Congo occupies a deeply complex dual identity, regarded simultaneously as a naturalist's bounty epitomized by magnificent rainforests and Africa's most iconic wildlife, yet also host to regular viral afflictions, challenging even the developed world. Within the Congo, basin's wooded folds lurk many of Earth's deadliest diseases, their prevalence encountered at a scale beyond most nations' darkest reckonings. Each year, malaria, history's greatest infectious reaper, sickens untold multitudes across Congo's vulnerable rural populace, transmitted stealthily through the whine of ubiquitous mosquitoes. Complicating efforts, the dense forest habitat offers mosquitoes ideal, cool, shaded microclimates to exploit. Yet Ebola poses an even more demoralizing threat, boiling to the surface sporadically to wreak fresh havoc despite medical strides. Its notoriously high fatality rate also makes outbreak news of an infected case an urgent call to track down contacts, ring-fencing the latest viral cluster before it spreads out of control. Nor is Ebola alone on Congo's hit list of alarming hemorrhagic fevers. The Congo virus arrived recently to claim its deadly legacy. Spread through animal contact and ticks, its aggressive attacks on vascular integrity conjure swift, painful ends. A spectrum of bacterial pestilences further compounds Congo's health disasters. Cholera, tuberculosis, and plague among medical challenges simmering behind jungle vine curtains. Number 3. The Gold Mountain. Few discoveries incite hysteria and feverish dreams as intensely as nudging open Earth's geology to reveal precious metals. The sight of gold strata glittering repeatedly across history has sealed fates of industries, cities, governments, and explorers emboldened or corrupted by auric power. So when impoverished Congolese villagers in 2021 stumbled upon an exposed edifice suspiciously rich in golden ore, the sheer desperation of this mineral-rich but economy-deprived nation ensured events more roller coaster than a joyride. Initial elation as thousands converged wielding picks, shovels, and bare hands to tear open their unlikely blessing was soon tempered by dispatches of armed forces once authorities learned of the uncontrolled mining. After cordoning off the mountain and confiscating extracted gold, the government announced plans to nationalize the entire vein and possibly utilize international mining contractors. Locals left the site empty-handed, their fleeting glimpse of a gilded existence receding beneath red soil now declared forbidden treasure. Number 2. Historic artifacts. Scattered across Congo, marvelous relics slumber from bygone eras when exquisite tribal sculptures and masks fused spiritual potency with artistic innovation solely from the abundance of imagination. But many masterpieces faced exile over a century ago when European powers dismembered Africa by claims of colonial protection, thinly justified theft of cultural assets alongside rubber plantations built on forced labor. The Royal Museums of Belgium alone still contain thousands of artifacts and artworks plundered from Congo during King Leopold's ruthless reign. While growing calls worldwide rightfully demand repatriating artifacts to originating communities as moral and legal redress, the path toward reconciliation remains complicated. Storage conditions meeting museum standards for preservation are still lacking in Congo, risking further damage. Tracking provenance after countless undocumented thefts and sales is also arduous. Political obstacles can slow collaborative efforts between national stakeholders. Yet healing cannot begin without a long overdue accounting, no matter how painful, of oppressive history. In that spirit, Belgium's federal government recently vowed to return all unethically acquired Congolese relics, whether obtained through conquest, looting, or unequal trade. The gesture opens possibilities for joint African partnerships, protecting cultural rights while sharing universal treasures with humanity. Such moral leadership may pressure more former imperial institutions to follow suit. Number 1. Upemba Depression. Nestled amid the intricate topography of central Congo exists an exceptional landscape feature, a sunken basin terrain known as the Upemba Depression. This geography's mix of grasslands, lakes, swamplands, and seasonally flooded wetlands has cultivated an explosion of unique biodiversity, thriving in isolation. But equally remarkable is the web of eerie unknowns cloaking parts of this domain, where scientific revelations collide with local lore of restless spirits and mythical denizens. The depression's southern shores host horizons of marshy lakes famed as the only sanctuary for rare endemic animals like the Upemba lechwe antelope and dwarf crocodiles. Grasslands scattered amid the sprawling wetlands provide a final stronghold for the vulnerable Congo peafowl and other declining species. But the origins of more mysterious relics found here remain unsolved riddles. Circles of standing carved rock, finely worked bone tools dating back 10,000 years, and rock drawings evoking eerie supernatural themes. While inspired researchers continue piecing together the Upemba story through scattered prehistoric traces, wariness encroaches from the taboos festering around fringes still wild at heart. The cacophony of tribal warnings passed down through oral tradition speaks of accursed terrain where trespassers vanish and angry spirits roam. They whisper the Nkuba lights, unseen forces that trigger spontaneous brushfires and disorient passers-by from their path. And from the darkest, most serpentine tributaries come shocking tales of bats with 3-foot wingspans, 50-foot river snakes that upend boats, and devouring aquatic beasts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.